Good morning, and welcome to another episode of Ben Helps You Do Stuff. Tonight, what we're going to tackle is kind of the abstraction of code into functions, why that's a useful thing to do, and kind of like not alternatives, but kind of if we didn't have things like for loops and functions, what would our code look like? And kind of how can we identify code that is a candidate for what we're calling refactorization? Refactorization is a concept. Refactorization. Usually one word, refactorization. It means taking your code and making it better. Taking anyone's code, really, and improving it. So what we have here is a simple page. Again, I retrieved some sample data off the interwebs. This data, again, hopefully is not real. Pretty sure it's not, considering it's all fake Latin. So I just want to do some basic things like we've done before. All right. So first of all, let's just print out, for starters, just a list of names. Okay. So we're going to list out each individual's name that's inside this list. So we have a JSON, giant JSON object. We're going to JSON.parse the entire thing and stick it inside of this array. We're going to go through, we're going to list everyone's name. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 of these. So let's start working. So let's say here, we could say let names equals document.query selector names. Let's actually make it all single quotes just for consistency. Okay. So we have names.inner HTML plus equals tick mark. We have li JSON at 0 name. Okay. Let's test it. So that's step one. If any good programmer is you make a change and you test two changes. So I'm going to open this up in Finder. Just crack open that HTML file there. And we'll see it doesn't work. So it's a good thing I tested it. I have a problem with my JSON. Crap. On line 1. Position 1. Token O. Uh-oh. Must have messed it up somewhere. Well, you know what? JSON.parse might expect a string. Let's try that. Maybe that'll work. Let's give it a shot. Boop. Doesn't look too happy about that. You know what? Let's just get rid of the JSON.parse and just let JavaScript interpret it for us. All right. Gotcha. Okay. Cannot read property inner HTML of null. So names, query selector names, inner HTML names. So this is coming up nothing. Why is this coming up nothing? This is already getting to a pretty rough start. Document query selector. This should work. Names. No. Document dot query selector names. No. Okay, so that's awfully strange. Let's see what's in our elements list. No, I have not saved this file since I added names. All right, so you see the silliest things get you. All right, so we have names now. It's inside of a container. So let's keep working here. I think we said we had, was it 13? Let's just keep going. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Change this to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Fresh. All right. Let's see. Is there the 13th one? Let me propose 13, 14. Okay. Looks like we're all out. of 14. So 14 is not working. Okay, so here we go. We got all their names, right? So you can pretty clearly see an opportunity for improvement, but we'll kind of gloss over that for now. Let's say we want to also put in their bank account balance. All right, so all of a sudden, we want to change this to include their bank account balance, which is a thing that they have inside their thing. So balance is, for this guy, is that much. All right, so this is a problem. Well, first of all, I didn't close the li on any of these, so that was a mistake. But even if you did check this out. If you hold down Alt, you can select a whole entire column. This is pretty awesome. Oh, it doesn't work in Visual Studio Code. Oh, that's really lame. Maybe this move the right alt? No. Man, okay. So we have /li. Man, this is lame. So why is this so difficult to teach? Because it's so lame. All right. Okay. So let's say we want to refactor this and say div /div holds their name. Maybe actually, no, you know what? Let's have this in a span. Their name in a span. And then see if is there a HTML element for number? Just a number, a figure maybe? Let's do W3C number element. Display number. Nope, nope, nope. Let's see, HTML5 spec number. Yeah, you know what? I don't think there's anything. All right, so let's just go with another span. And here we'll have JSON at element0.balance. Okay, fresh. All right, so Samson McDonald has a bank account balance of $2,033.37. Good for Samson McDonald. All right, so actually, what I want to do is just replace all this code with 14 of these. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I didn't paste as many times as I thought. 11, 12, 13. Okay. You see, this is going to be kind of a pain, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Pew. All right, so we got everyone's balances and their names all laid out nicely. And that's all well and good, right? Even though there's no space here. That's kind of lame, but we're not going to worry about that for now. I mean, do we really want to live life like this? I mean, ask yourself, if you make a minor change to this, then you have to go through in every single one of these and replace this with something else. I mean, if you make a very minor update, like imagine you have to add a class to this li. All the LIs. You know? I mean, it's very, very difficult to do that. So, I mean, first things first, we have this thing like a for loop, which we're going to use to simplify this repeated series of steps. So we're going to say for let I equals 0. And remember the let, guys and gals. This let is something that everyone forgets lately. I is less than JSON.length, I plus plus. Then we just put this right here. And we replace our crappy little I with a better, or crappy little 0 with crappy little better I. We go on down here and delete all this code. We have the same thing, right? So that's the reason why loops are useful. We repeated series of tasks, which are much better if we do it like so. Okay, let's just, oh, I even forgot the span. See, everyone is forgetful, even if you've been doing it for years. There's things you can miss. And that was the reason why we didn't have the space. So that makes everything even that much nicer. So we have Samson, McDonald, Stanley, Solis, Rosario, Robertson, all those people happy. So what else can we do here? I mean, what if we wanted to process everyone before they were added? Like, what if we wanted to encapsulate all this logic? You know, like, what if we wanted to not just have this for loop live here like this in the middle of the script? What if we wanted to like separate the generation of the HTML with the appending of the HTML? Like, what if we had this? What if we had a generate person HTML function instead, and we passed it JSON at element I? Okay, so we have function generate person HTML person. I'm liking this already. So we have just a return statement here. It's going to return this string, and all of a sudden we can say person.name, person.balance. Let's refresh, get the same results. But do you see how more readable that is? This function is now not responsible for both setting the HTML inside the container and generating the HTML. It's just, all this function does is given a person object, generate HTML that can go in a list for that person. That's it. And then this says, add to the inner HTML the generated HTML for a person. So we give it the element in the JSON to look at, and we just add it to the inner HTML. So this separation of concerns decouples the generation of the HTML with the placement of the HTML in your DOM. This is generally good practice. You want your concerns to be separated as much as possible. You want your functions to be as small as possible. All right. So what if we also wanted something else that was like, I don't know, like calculate average balance, a function calculate average balance, right? And we could take in the entire JSON array. So we do have JSON defined up here. Technically speaking, we could just use it directly in this function. But the way functions typically work is you pass in the argument as a parameter to the function, and the function operates on the parameter. You want to restrict your usage of global variables as much as possible. Okay, so let's go over here and let's say div class equals stats. Okay, so we have span. It's like class equals average balance. Then maybe we have span class equals number, like active users count, active users count span. And then let's say we also have a, what else do we want? Well, that's enough for now. We have an active users count as well as a average balance. Okay, so we have names here, and we also have let averages equal document query selector average balance, and then let active users equal document query selector active users count. Okay. So we have our for loop here. We have our function which generates the person's HTML. We also have a function that calculates the average balance for that, for the list of people. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do average balance. Say averages inner HTML is equal to calculate average balance. Give it a JSON. All right. So we have the for loop here, which is running all this stuff, and we have the HTML of averages equal to us calculating the average of their balance. So let's calculate the average. Well, to calculate the average, we need to build a sum. We let sum equal 0. Actually, let's just start with the actual average. No, because with averages, you calculate at the very end. So yeah, let's just start with sum equals 0. Before let I equals 0, I is less than JSON.length, plus sum plus equals JSON at I dot balance. Is that a string? It is a string. So I'm going to have to parse the float, I believe. Parse float JSON at I dot balance. Okay. So return sum divided by JSON.length. Okay. So let's do that. Man, that's perfect. Am I using parse float correctly? Look up the NDN to see what parse float's all about. Oh, you know what? It's got the $sign in front of it. That's what's causing the problem. Interesting conundrum. So what we have to do is actually take off the first element, the $. All right, so let's check this out. So let's crack open the console, do some experimentation. I think there's a slice method on, is it slice 0? No, 1? Yes. All right, you see that? So slice took off the first element of the string and returned the, so let's look up the NDN slice, string slice, just to show you the documentation for slice. So the slice method extracts a section of the string and returns a new string. So the begin index is required, and optionally you can specify the end index. Since I don't need to specify the end, I just specify the beginning. So when you do slice 1, it just trims off the first one. So let's see if this works. Let's parse float. Let's do this. Let's just drop that right in there. That is not the answer I anticipated. 1. All right. Parse float 1640.82. Okay, behaves as intended. I bet it's this comma. Yep. All right. You know what? Is there like a parse currency? NVN parse currency? No. Okay. Man, this little simple example. So wait, hold on. NVN parse number with commas. That's a better Googler thing. So what's this to locale string? That'd be interesting. That's part of number, so I don't have, I need to do it the other way around. Man, it doesn't look like it. JavaScript format number comma. No. No. Convert currency to float. Ooh. Can the number constructor handle this? Let's see. Let's see. Probably not. I would not put my money on it. So new number 1640.82. Nope, not a number. Crap monkeys. Okay, well I guess we have no real choice but to remove that comma. So let's check out. I believe there is a remove or replace. This replace, yeah. So let's add commas to this sample string. Replace comma with nothing. Then replace the first one. Does it replace all? Nope. there is a regular expression replaced, I believe. So we have, there we go. So it's going to replace every instance of a comma with nothing. So let's go back and parse float 1640 slice 1 dot replace g like that. Oh, let's look at my, I think I got my parens wrong. Yay! Finally it works. So we'll cover regular expressions later. It might be a supplemental lecture if you guys want it to be. But basically, regular expressions are a simple language that are, well, it's not simple, a very powerful and confusing language to identify patterns in things like strings. So this is a pattern recognizer thing. It says the stuff between these slashes is the pattern we're looking for. We're looking for a comma. And this G here specifies that we want to find every instance of a comma in the target string. So we're going to replace everything here with nothing. Replace all the commas. So there you go. That's 1640.682. So let's take this guy here and drop it in right here. Oops, it's not its exact value. This is JSON at i.balance. Balance slice 1. There we go. So the average balance is $2,886.88, almost 83 cents. So let's minimize that. So now, if we are trying to visualize exactly what's going on, like we have, in fact, we can move this stuff around a little bit. Let's move these functions up here right underneath our data. Okay. So we could have performed this calculation right here, but then we'd be mixing together the calculation of the average with the code that sets the result of that to the inner HTML of the averages span. Now that's okay. That's not technically wrong. It does the right thing. But the sooner you can wrap your mind around the idea that functions are there to provide simple functionality and get out of the way, like to separate functionalities, like to separate these two seemingly conjoined things, separate them into their own concerns, the better off you're going to be. Okay. And so finally, we can do something like, active users count. So we could be like function return get active users count based off of the JSON input. So we'd be doing a similar thing, like let's see here. What do we want to do? We want to let count equal 0, and eventually we're going to return count. So that's the body of the method is going to be responsible for setting count. So for let I equal 0, I is less than JSON.count, or length, I plus plus, and we have if JSON at I is active, JSON at I dot is active, count plus plus. Done. We forgot to set it down here. So we have active users dot inner HTML equals get active users count JSON 9. So you see there's a little tiny little space there. There's 9 active users. So you see here we have basically the region of code, which is like, getting a reference to the HTML elements, setting the HTML in the elements, like helper functions up here, stuff like that. I wonder if I can make this any crazier. No, I think I'll stop for now. The next video, I believe, is going to be on, hitting callbacks really hard. So I was thinking about using a callback here. Since we're looping over the same JSON in both of these calls, I was thinking about doing that, but I think I'll save that for the next video. That's really all I wanted to cover for now. So this is a brief overview of for loops, like why use a for loop, how does it help you reduce the code in your JavaScript, and kind of how to encapsulate the logic in your JavaScript into different functions to help you out and help you improve the understanding and readability of your code. Hope this was useful. Have a nice night.